After getting up at 6 a.m. and a light breakfast of egg, toast, and a cup of tea, one to take with me on the road, it was time to pack up the car and hit the road. The journey to the trailhead would take about an hour along Interstate 90, deep into the Cascades. After leaving the interstate, I got onto a dirt road. That drop-off on the left was not for the faint of heart. Ira Spring, for which this trailhead is named, was a photographer, author, mountaineer, and hiking advocate. He was the photographer and co-author with Harvey Manning and his brother Bob Spring of the 100 Hikes series of books published by the Mountaineers. He co-founded the Trails Advocacy and Maintenance Organization, Washington Trails Association, along with fellow Trails advocate Louise Marshall. In 1998, he published an autobiography entitled An Ice Axe, a Camera, and a Jar of Peanut Butter, detailing his long photographic career on several continents. In recognition of this work in conservation and wilderness preservation, he was presented with the Roosevelt Conservation Award by President Bush in 1992. Ira was born in Jamestown, New York, with a twin, Bob, and grew up in Shelton, Washington. During World War II, he served as an Army aerial photographer. In 2003, Ira Spring left us to join his ancestors. But as you hike these trails, an echo of him remains in the mountains he hiked, climbed, photographed, and loved for 75 years. As I followed in the footsteps of Ira Spring and others, I was fortunate to enjoy a beautiful day and magnificent views all the way to Mount Rainier. After the trail crests at a beautiful point where the views were fantastic, it heads down to the basin where Mason Lake lies. I took one of the little trails that comes off the main trail down to the lake and found this beautiful campsite right on the edge of the lake. Just perfect. And now it's time to get the pack off and set up camp. And after setting up camp by a beautiful alpine lake on a sunny day, what do? Well, you do this. You sit down, have a snack, relax, and enjoy the scenery. Dinner was a can of hearty beef and vegetable soup, and I sat by my nice warm fire that I built on a small flat rock and enjoyed it. You'll notice on the right there looks like a curtain kind of billowing out. That's actually a wind block that I made out of my ground tarp to protect me from the wind coming off the lake. It was getting pretty cold and the wind was blowing harder and harder as the night went on. After a while I decided, you know what, it's getting dark, it's getting cold, time to hit the sack. Unfortunately, sleep was not on the schedule. Well, I put out the fire, dumped a bunch of snow on it, and I'm all snug in my hammock. The wind is blowing really strong. You can hear it once in a while flapping the tarp around there. So hopefully my rainfly survives the night and doesn't come loose or anything, so I have to get up in the middle of the night and fix it. I've got my two sleeping bags here as a quilt on top of me, and I'm pretty darn toasty warm. I'm tempted actually to take my sweatshirt off, but I think I'll leave it on because about the hour before dawn it gets really cold. So I'm just going to keep it on. So I'll say goodnight for now, and in the morning have breakfast and clear up the camp and head home. See you in the morning. Wind's been blowing pretty hard all night. Oh, I see I'm blowing my jacket back. Little gap in the rainfly there. I'm warm, but the noise of that rainfly flapping around is They're like keeping me up. Oh boy. It's gonna be a long night. Come to the door. I got up and inspected the damage. Wasn't that bad. I had one of the ties come loose, but that's really about it. And reattaching the bungee cord to the stake in the ground was an easy matter. That's the nice thing with the bungee cords. They flex and stretch and don't pull all the way out and don't yank the stakes out of the ground. So there we are, nicely fixed, and just stretch that part back over and we're done. My ground tarp that I set up as a kind of a wind block took a bit of a beating, but was undamaged and it did its job. Although the sun was up, it hadn't made it over the mountain on the other side of the lake yet, so I had some time to enjoy the mirror effect. And yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? Unlike my compatriots across the Atlantic back home in England, my camping meals are usually very simplistic. For breakfast, some hot porridge, a cup of hot tea, and that's really about it. You'll notice that I've got a little cozy there that I put the pot into. That's to do two things. One, keep my fingers from burning, and two, keep the porridge nice and hot when I'm eating it. Although the night was rough and my meal simple and plain, the view that I get to enjoy makes it all worthwhile. As much as I would like to stay here all day and just enjoy this view, I do have to get home. My wife will worry about me after a while. So after packing up, checking around the campsite, making sure I haven't left anything behind, leave no trace, have one last look at the lake before heading home. Enjoyed this video. I certainly enjoyed this hike and lake. If you did like it, give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. As always, I hope to see you out there.